We're coming up on the middle of the trading day here, and it's been a choppy, macro-driven session so far. I'm Grant Mercer, this is Storm Stock Solutions, and let's bring a little clarity to the chaos in today's markets. The real-time story right now is the intersection of the Fed, Washington, and risk assets. According to reporting from MarketWatch, Bitcoin is sliding back toward that 80,000 level, retesting the lows we saw around the spring tariff scare. The twist is that even with Kevin Warsh tapped for Fed chair and talk of easier policy on the horizon, crypto traders aren't rushing back in. The message from that tape: policy support alone may not be enough when positioning is heavy and nerves are frayed. It's a reminder that speculative corners of the market can de-risk quickly when confidence wobbles. Staying with the Fed front, Victor Reclatus at MarketWatch outlines how Warsh's Senate confirmation is already running into turbulence. Senator Tom Tillis is threatening to hold up the nomination until the Justice Department wraps its criminal probe of Jerome Powell. That adds a layer of political risk to what markets were hoping would be a clean handoff. For stocks and bonds, the question is whether this turns into a drawn-out fight that delays clarity on the rate path, or whether it gets resolved relatively quickly. For now, it's another source of headline risk traders are watching into the afternoon. On the rate side, Vivian Liu Chen highlights that the bond market isn't getting everything it wanted out of Warsh. The nomination apparently avoids some of the worst-case scenarios Warsh said, but it's still very unclear how he'll actually steer rates. That kind of ambiguity tends to keep volatility elevated in treasuries and can spill into equity sectors most sensitive to yields. Think financials and rate-sensitive growth. Professionals will be watching the curve and real yields closely for the rest of the day to see if they stabilize or continue to chop around. On the downside radar, silver is having a brutal session. Myra Seifong reports the metal is on track for its biggest one-day drop in 14 years, with one strategist describing it as every man and his dog rushing for the exit. When you see language like that, it usually means crowded trades are being unwound in a hurry. That kind of flush in silver can bleed over into other metals and mining names as risk managers cut exposure across the complex, even if the fundamentals haven't changed much in the last 24 hours. At the same time, we're getting some big-picture commentary on commodities overall. Former Goldman commodities strategist Jeffrey Curry told MarketWatch he sees another decade of rising prices for metals and critical minerals, driven by hoarding and a global capex boom. But he also warns it could get bubbly. That's the tension. A structural bull story colliding with short-term washouts like we're seeing in silver today. Longer-term investors may treat moves like this as noise, but near-term traders will be laser-focused on whether today's selling turns into broader commodity contagion. Under the surface, there are a few names and themes I'm keeping on the watch list. Verizon is having a standout day, with Emily Berry reporting it's on pace for its best session in 18 years after posting the strongest subscriber growth in 6 years. New CEO Dan Schulman is sending a clear message that Verizon won't be a hunting ground for rivals anymore. That kind of decisive repositioning can reset how investors think about an old line telecom. Worth watching to see if today's spike turns into a trend, or just a one-day celebration. There's also an ongoing conversation about income and portfolio construction. Beth Pinsker highlights commentary from the world's largest asset manager, suggesting you can't count on bonds anymore in the way retirees historically have. That won't move the tape intraday, but it does shape how capital may be allocated over months and years. More focus on diversified income sources and risk management, especially if the new Fed regime proves less predictable. Looking into the next hour, the market's going to stay sensitive to any new headlines around Warsh's confirmation and to how deeply today's selling in silver and crypto spreads into other risk assets. I'll be watching whether bond yields settle down or if we see another leg of volatility there, because that's the backbone for equity valuations. Remember, this is information and education, not personalized financial advice. As always, I'll be here to keep clarity through the chaos of these markets. On behalf of Storm Stock Solutions, I'm Grant Mercer.